are now listening to the Sportz Nutz.
Hey guys, we are the Sportz Nutz. Yes, we are live tonight. This is episode 107. Man, we have made it to 107 episodes. By the way, I'm sitting here watching the show on my TV just because my girls want to watch it and all. And it's so crazy to see myself doing this, Anyway, we hope you guys had a wonderful, wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Shout out to all those who did pay the ultimate price for our freedom. We thank you 1,000 times over. Yes, tonight we have a very big show. He should be on any moment. It is Bob Rathbun, the play-by-play voice of your Atlanta Hawks. He will be joining us for only 15 minutes, but we are excited to have him on. And then, guys, we have a whole slew of other things that we're going to talk about after our guest leaves. Obviously, the big question is can Clemson softball can Clemson baseball not repeat what happened with the softball? Obviously, they came up so short and a loss. We'll talk a little bit about the baseball program. The U.S. national hockey team has done something that they haven't done in almost 100 years. What is that? We'll talk a little bit about that. Shane, this next question is going to be obviously for you. Are the Carolina Hurricanes done? Obviously, they had a streak, and they finally ended an incredible long losing streak, but the streak is over. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. Obviously, now Kirk Cousins, he's back in the news for what he didn't do today, and also for a team that he is actually listed as a very high potential to go to. We'll talk a little bit about that. Now that the updated win-loss totals have come out for the Colorado Rockies, are they better or are they worse? Are they worse? Yeah, we'll talk about that as well. We're going to discuss our newest sports episode. It'll happen during the summer. Shane's going to leave us into that. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the man himself, this gentleman I have watched since he started calling back in 1996 with my Atlanta Hawks, with your Atlanta Hawks, Mr. Bob Rathbun. Mr. Bob, how are you doing, sir?
Gentlemen, doing great. How are you all?
Good. Thank you so much. Like I said, I have watched you since I was a teenager, and I absolutely admire you. And I got to go right off into the bat. The first question is you got to work, and you still do, get to work with the Stinger. What is it like being with the Stinger? I met him when they had the strike for the Atlanta Hawks. I did the basketball camp, and I got to meet the Stinger, and he's a great guy. I have his book still actually signed by him. But what is it like to work not only with the Stinger, but also with a human highlight himself?
Well, two Hawk legends, right?
Absolutely.
Mike Glenn was my first color man when I started in 96, and a great friend, and loved working with him. And he was such a good Hawk and such a great teammate. And then, of course, the last 15 years, hard to believe it's been that long, but the last 15 years with the human highlight film, Dominique Wilkins. And the stories never get old. I've heard them all, and I want to hear them again.
I absolutely I love watching you guys, the accommodating that you guys do, the sheer passion, the love you guys have for the team in the city is just amazing. Now, obviously, 2024, it was a tough year for the Atlanta Hawks fan base. We did lose one of the greatest, if I think honestly is the greatest defensive player of all time in Dikembe Mutombo. I got to meet him when I was 15 years old. They were building Phillips Arena, and they were at Georgia Tech and Alexander Memorial Coliseum. I got to meet him. I still have the hat, the basketball. I still have his jersey, and I still have his poster signed by him. What was one of your most memorable moments with Dikembe Mutombo?
Wow, so many. The block shots in the playoffs, that one sequence against Detroit was magnificent. But I think the one thing I admired the most about Dikembe was his personality. He was a fun-loving guy, just a joy to be around. And the trips, the bus rides, times at the hotel, he never had a bad day. He never was in a bad mood. The guy was just fantastic to be around, and his teammates loved him. In his passing, the sad part is I will miss that smile and that laugh the most. I mean, obviously an incredible basketball player, but even more a better humanitarian with what he did not only here in Atlanta but in the world. Back home in the Congo and Kinshasa, and the NBA, made him a special ambassador, and a role, the perfect role for him. So he was a giant of a man, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I love every time he did the no, not in my house.
That's right.
Man
does not fly in the house of Matumbo.
Yes, right. That was my absolute favorite. I still, I love when his commercials come on when he's with Geico. Goes, no, not in my house. I love it.
Right.
It's the best. So the 2025-26 NBA season, it actually could be a make it or break it kind of season for the Atlanta Hawks. What direction do you see them going with the way of the draft? Obviously, we have 2 first-round picks this year. The draft is one of the most talented drafts they've had since, I believe they were saying, since 2013. But what direction do you think Atlanta could be going?
Well, picking 13 and 22, a lot depends on what happens in front of us. But I would say the needs of the team, we've got to get bigger. We've got to get some size behind Onyeka, and not only height but girth. Big guys that can throw their weight around a little bit. I thought that was, one area that we were lacking in, and a lot of it, due to injuries. But I think that will be addressed in the draft. I wouldn't be shocked if we took one of the picks and packaged it, maybe get a player that way, not draft 2 guys, maybe just draft 1 and trade for 1. Wouldn't surprise me. But I think the good news for Hawks fans is that our young core is really young, and they're going to grow together. Jalen, if we just had him, we'd have been in the playoffs. But, Jalen's 23 years old. Dyson just turned 22. Ricochet's 20. Trey's just entering his prime, really, at 26. So we got a great young core. Onyeka, is 24 years old. So these guys are going to be around for a while, and I think the future is very bright for Atlanta. If you just put Jalen on the team that we ended the season with all the injuries and everything that went wrong, we still would have won probably 45, 46 games and probably in the top 6, not have to go through the play-in. So we won 40 as banged up as we were. Jalen only played 36 games. So I think the future is very bright for the Hawks, and add a piece or 2 maybe on draft night would be great.
Shane, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, we see a lot of big free agent names in the market this year with LeBron, Kyrie, and Harden, but more than likely they're staying, home where they're at right now. Do you guys see yourselves bringing back a piece that you guys had during the Hunter trade this year, or maybe even some veteran kind of leadership with, maybe an Al Horford, bringing him back in, to kind of give this young talent that veteran leadership?
Well, Shane, you make a great point. I think one of the big things about free agency is take care of your own first. And Karis LeVert, who was such a big part of our team in the trade from Cleveland, is an unrestricted free agent. He has said all the right things about wanting to stay and be here with us. So, if you can get Karis back, that's a big piece to that bench. It's interesting how, in my view, free agency has changed over the years. It always used to be you wanted to be attractive to get a big name free agent to come to your team. Well, those days seem to be over in the NBA. What we're seeing with free agents now is that they sign to get the big money with their original team, or the team they're eligible to sign with, and then they demand a trade to wherever they want to go. So we're not really playing that game. We don't have, Karis LeVert's not going to sign with us and then demand a trade. So we've got to build it around guys like Karis and the young core to make this thing really fly. And I think for most teams in the NBA, the days of the big free agent are passe. Paul George last year was one of the last free agents to A, change teams, and B, come from the west to the east. And, that blew up in Philadelphia's face. So I don't think we'll see the big free agent moves like we used to see and building a three, putting a big three together or something like that. I think those days are kind of over.
All right. So the next question I got to ask about this is, do you think we could see a player like Sabonis or even Giannis make it to potentially be an Atlanta Hawk?
Well, you never say never, for sure. And if one of those guys became available, I'm sure we'd do everything we could to get them. But if you're Milwaukee and you take a look at the East, as wide open as it is, with Tatum going down and will be out next season, and as crazy as the playoffs have been, you got to sit there and say, Giannis, my man, unless you're putting a gun to our head to trade you, we're going to keep you, because with Giannis, Milwaukee's just as good as just about anybody else if they get everybody healthy. So I don't know if you'll see a guy like Giannis on the move, to be honest.
I like that, what you're saying on that one. And then real quickly, I got to ask you about the Atlanta Dream. The Dream, they started off really good, actually. This offseason, we saw a flurry of additions. Brittany Griner is on the team, just to name a few. Could Atlanta finally challenge the Liberty? Could they finally challenge, heck, even Asia Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces for the Covenant WNBA championship title?
I don't think they're there yet. I think Coach Carl is going to see what he has, figure it out as he goes. He's not used to playing with two bigs. That's a change for him, he wants to get down the floor and shoot threes. And he looks back and he sees his two, basically two centers, bringing up the rear. That's not the way he likes to play basketball. So I think it'll be a year of transition. I think this will probably be a better team in the second half than they are in the first half, even though they're 3-2. They're off to a good start, but they're out west now. It'll be a little tougher for them. But no, I don't think the championship run is in them this year. But I think they got a great coach, and I think they got some good talent. It's tough. The point guard gets hurt. That makes it tough. It'll be tough on the road for them for sure. But, to be in the mix, middle of the pack toward the playoffs would be a successful season.
Absolutely. Matt, you have a question. Go right ahead.
Yeah. First off, Bob, man, I want to thank you for coming on, man. Just so you know, man, we are all big fans here of you, man. We respect your work, and we're very excited that you're here with us today. Just wanted to put that out there first. Hey, a question that I know is a question I've always wanted to ask you. If I ever met you, I would have definitely always wanted to ask this. But and I came a little bit late, so I apologize if this has been asked already. But Bob, out of all your years, being the voice of the Hawks, tell me, what is your most memorable moment?
I get that question often, Matt, and it's a great question. I don't have any rings with the Hawks yet. So
exactly,
when you talk about memorable moments, I mean, there are bits and pieces. But as I look back over 3 decades of doing this, I think the one thing that really meant a lot to me was the 60-win team going unbeaten in the month of January, putting together a 19-game winning streak. I thought was one of the greatest things I had ever seen for this franchise. And not so much the winning, although that was great. Beating Golden State here was fantastic. But to me, it was the way the city was galvanized, much like when the Braves make a run in the World Series, when the Falcons go to the Super Bowl, stuff like that. To see that happen for the Hawks and to have everybody in town talking about the Hawks, to me, that was as special a moment as we've ever had here. And we've had great moments, no doubt about it. We've had some incredible runs in the playoffs a couple of times. Trey's run to be 2 games away from the finals a couple of years ago was great. So we've had moments, but I'd say if I had to pick one, not just a great moment, but that 60-win team. And I will say this: had we stayed healthy, we were going to the finals. We would have beaten LeBron and we would have beaten Cleveland. Not sure we beat Golden State, but I think we would have made it. And there's no telling seminal moments like that, what they do for a franchise. You think about the Braves' great run, to have just one World Series out of that decade plus of dominance in the East. And to win a World Series or two more, what that would have done, what it would have meant for the Falcons to win the Super Bowl, what it would have meant for the Hawks to go to the final. Those types of moments don't come around very often. And you just hope they could get over the hump and make it one time. Because as you guys know, if you're an Atlanta sports fan, you're going to have your heart broken a lot of times.
They don't call our city the cardiac center for no reason, right?
Right.
Now, Hank's got a question for you. Go right ahead, Hank.
Okay, so you were referring to the 61. Are you talking about the 10 years ago when y'all had 4 All-Stars on the East, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. My question is that do you think somebody like Kent Bazemore, who I thought was a very well-rounded talent for Atlanta back then, got kind of sucked into that moment and to the point that he didn't get to shine as much as he should have if there had been less All-Stars on that team?
Perhaps Bays was the kind of guy that he just wanted to fit in. He was very fortunate that he was a free agent the summer that the TV money came in, and he got a huge contract. He never saw that kind of money again. But Bays was just a great guy, is a great guy, and I thought just wanted to fit in with us. He would have played any role that they had asked of him, but I really didn't. I just felt like Bays was just one of the dudes and fit in perfectly. He was, as you mentioned, he really made himself into a well-rounded NBA player. This guy had no rep coming out of Old Dominion, many, many years ago, and got a break, with Golden State, moved around the Lakers, then came to us. But he is one outstanding human being. And we were all better for having Kent Bazemore on the team.
Absolutely. 100% agree. I do have a question from one of our audience members, and then I'll let you go, Bob. But I also want to say I still have it on the video saved from when you and Neek did the Kyle Korver 11 points in 60 seconds call. That still gives me chills to this day. I can remember it like it was yesterday. But this is the question from one of our audience members here. What would you say is one of the most iconic Hawk moments?
Oh boy. Well, certainly the one that I think a lot of fans around the world will remember, and unfortunately it ended in defeat, was the Neek Bird shootout in the '88 playoffs. I think that will go down as one of the all-time great playoff moments. And sadly for us, it didn't work out in the end to lose Game 7. Should have won Game 6 right at the Omni. But I think that's a moment that almost every basketball fan that knows and appreciates the history of the game will think back to and say, that was a fantastic moment in Atlanta Hawks history. Going unbeaten in the month of January in that 60-win season. Guys, that's never been done before, and it hasn't been done since. And to have all 5 starters recognized as the players of the month in January was something the NBA had never done before. So, we've had selected moments. To see, Dyson Daniels do so well, should have been Defensive Player of the Year. To see Zachary Risache, second in Rookie of the Year. These are great moments. We don't have those kinds of moments. That's the first time anybody's won Most Improved with Dyson, I think, since Allen Henderson. And that was like in, 1995, something like that. So, these moments are few and far between, so they need to be savored. And those are just a few that come to mind. But I think of the great battles with Michael Jordan, with Smitty and Mookie and those guys. The Joe Johnson era, Josh Smith. I mean, these were some iconic moments for Hawks fans. So that just touches on a few right off the top of my head.
Absolutely. And, we actually are really close to getting Mike Bibby on our show. So fingers crossed.
The Bibster.
That's right.
Coach Bibby.
Yep, that's right. He is the coach at Sacramento State. Bob, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Like I said, I've watched you for as long as I can remember. You are an absolute legend for the organization, for the city, for the fan base. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for coming on. Matt, go ahead and say your goodbyes to him, sir.
Yeah, most definitely, Bob. Like I said earlier, man, we appreciate you coming on. We're all big fans of you. We've all been listening to you for years, man, for years. And if it wasn't for these cameras and if it wasn't for, these guys sitting right here, we would all be acting like giddy little schoolgirls right now. Just to know.
What's
That is
stopping
true,
you?
Shane, what do you say to him, sir?
Oh yeah, well, I do appreciate you coming on, and hey, may the good Lord bless you, and hey, look forward to the next season.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And Hank, what do you say to him, sir?
Man, very gracious personality, sir. I hail from the city of Memphis, Tennessee, so you know where my allegiance are, but you are 1 in a million, my friend.
Well, thank you guys. That is so kind of y'all. And I love doing these shows, and this is a very special one for me. So I am glad to be back, and I can't wait to do it again, and wish you all nothing but the best.
Bob, we're going to be Matt and I will definitely be at a couple of Hawks games. Make sure you look for one of the louder fans. It'll be him and I will be the loudest.
I'm sort of like the prisoner in his cell, that calendar on the wall, and you got the release date, in October, and I'm just Xing out the days, man, until we can get back at it.
Absolutely.
I'm watching these playoff games. It's been so great. The playoffs have been fabulous. It's wide open. Anybody can win this thing, which I think is fantastic. Just a few years ago, we had Cleveland and Golden State going at it 4 straight years. And that kind of ran its course.
Mm-hmm.
But to see it wide open, a new champion every year, I think it's great.
Absolutely, Bob. We will talk again soon, sir. Thank you as always. Please give the Stinger our best and give Neek our best, and we will look forward to seeing you again, sir.
Absolutely will. In fact, that was the Hall of Famer calling right then.
Hey, that sounds good. Let him know to come check out the episode. I appreciate
Something
it.
has happened in the world of basketball that he wants to talk about.
There you go. Bob, take care. Enjoy your evening, sir, and stay safe.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, my God, Matt. I'm literally yes, that's exactly how I am right now.
Not gonna do it.
Matt,
Not gonna do it.
we just
gonna do
had somebody we have watched. We just had somebody we've watched for 30 years.
Fred,
on the best team. Hank. All right, guys, hold on.
Brandon's
Hank.
nipples just got hard.
Oh boy, here we go.
I don't
Hank.
think I don't think they understand, Brandon.
No.
I don't think they understand. They don't understand.
They don't understand. All right, so hey, get your drinks. Get a drink if you have one, real quickly. If you have one, or anything, get anything.
Oh man, I you know what?
We're gonna tip. Oh, here's what we're gonna do first, okay?
All
Hank,
right.
we're gonna tip. We're gonna say cheers to Hank for being a part of Sportz Nutz history right there with Coach Bob, with Bob Rathbun. Cheers to Hank, and then to our man Shane. Congratulations on having a historic moment for the Sportz Nutz. And Matt, we did it, man. We got Bob Rathbun, the voice of our Atlanta Hawks. Come on, cheers to each and every one of you. Cheers to all the people who watched. Cheers to all the fans all around. To you all.
My life is complete.
Oh, it's great. And one of the things that I liked when I didn't want to ask anything, I didn't want to ask anything because I wanted you to get it. But tell you the truth, people could talk about like Dominique Wilkins and all these legendary players who've come out of Atlanta. But to me, that was probably y'all's greatest moment, was having 4 All-Stars on the starting roster in the East. And it was interesting to see somebody like, what was it? Jeff Teague, Al Horford.
Well, just to reiterate, they didn't start, but they were all out on the floor at the same time with LeBron James. It was all 4 of them and LeBron James.
Luckily, I didn't say that. I don't think the starting part on the to Bob.
No, but the fact that they were on there was a pretty cool moment.
But one of the things, like Ken Bazemore, to me, that summer that he was a free agent, right? That was a pretty weak free agency that summer. And so you had to get like above average role players or the best 2-way players you could find. And I felt like him and Evan Turner that year were the 2 that could have maybe possibly made a dent on a team in a positive, other than Evan Turner's personality at the time. But so I was really wondering what he thought about Kent Bazemore in that situation, because he would have been an all-star if it wasn't for the fact that he was sucked up by the other 4 players on that squad.
Hey, and I
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Hank. I don't know about that with Kent Bazemore. I don't know about him being an all-star. His jump shot wasn't really that lethal. I mean, nothing really stood out as far as the game. He was solid. Don't get me wrong now. Kent Bazemore was a heck of a player. Heck of a player, man. Heck of a player.
He got a lot of great looks because of the others on the floor, too.
That's right, yes.
My only defense and my only counterpart in defense with that is that the East has really been a very weak side for the last 15 years or so, and I think that he had that potential. So that's what
Before we're going further, hold on. My man, Mr. Coach Darren of your Huntsville Astros. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Astros are back. They are the IFA. They're going to win the championship. Darren, I'm going to talk to you because I want to set up having you come on to what we are going to announce later on with our new show, episode that come on during the summer. Actually, Shane will talk about in just a minute. So, but yes, tip our caps to the Houston Astros, to the Huntsville Astros. Hey, before we go any further, guys, this gentleman, oh my goodness, right there. This gentleman's sitting right next to me, Mr. Hank. I told you we were going to do our introductions after our guest, but Hank, how you doing, man?
Man, shoot. I don't know how to explain it, man. I'm good, man. It was a good interview we just had, man. Didn't even have to put on any baby powder, but I should have.
Hey, this gentleman's sitting catty corner. Shane Owen, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Hank, man, you should be blessed. You're missing all the weather from what it looks like. So
that's what I hear.
It's of course I enjoyed it. It's a little bit cooler, but it had
it's a lot of bit cooler. What are you talking about? A little bit?
Yeah, it hadn't reached 60 up here today, maybe 57 at the most. But man, other than that, man, that was just a great interview. Everything I enjoyed it. I hope all of our fans out there enjoyed it, man. Stay tuned because we got some other good things. I'm ready to get into it.
That's right. And this gentleman below me coming all the way, he probably was booking at Dano all the way to Holland because he didn't want to miss the opportunity to hear the great Bob. But Matt, how you doing, man?
Oh man, it's been I've been all right, man. It's been super busy, man. Just glad to finally speck and breathe for a bit, man. I haven't been home for a minute, but I'm back now and ready to rock.
That's right. All right, so Darren, I will get with you, but let you know the new show for the new episode for the summertime only is the training. What is it called? It's Training Days with the Sportz Nutz. We are going to cover all 32 teams in the NFL for the training camps. And Darren, I'm going to talk to you about seeing if you or Richie or any of the guys would be willing to come on and help facilitate talks of the New Orleans Saints. Let me know, man. And then John just said it's why I don't ask much until the end. It was too cool. Hey, fantastic interview. For those who missed it, I would like for you, encourage you all, please go back and check out our YouTube, our Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, wherever's. That's where you'll get the opportunity to see the interview with the great Bob Rathbun, the voice of the Atlanta Hawks. He was the voice, has been the voice for 30 years. Congratulations to him. All right, so guys, let's talk. Let's get going. Obviously, we were so close to seeing the Clemson softball team do something they have never done, which was make it to Oklahoma City for the Women's College World Series. However, let's look on the other side. The men's program, the baseball program, they came really close to winning the ACC title game. They lost to UNC. However, they are a host site for the men's baseball for the regionals. So I'm going to start with Shane. Shane, obviously this is a monumental moment. We saw a lot of great softball and baseball in general. I mean, we saw South Carolina come up. Yes, they came up short, but man, they fought tooth and nail with one of the best programs in all at college athletic history. And UCLA Bruins, obviously we didn't get the results we had hoped for both Clemson and South Carolina, but what does this say for the foundation of softball and baseball? Could we start seeing other teams besides Oklahoma or Texas, heck, even UCLA and Oregon? Can we see other teams finally grace the collegiate athletic world with their presence?
Well, before we get into that, Brandon, I want to start off by saying that you let the cat out of the bag.
I did, didn't I?
But yeah, you did. So I want to go ahead and mention it. Coming up in season 4, we're going to have 3 episodes a week now. We're going to have our new episode. It's going to be training days with the Sportz Nutz. We're going to try to get to all NFL teams, get an update on all OTAs, training camps, all the preparation that goes into the lead up to the preseason and the NFL season as a whole.
Here's the logo.
Yep. I was going to say, Brandon, go ahead, give them the logo. Look for us, to start announcing dates and times come the very beginning of season 4. We're trying to get that all ironed out once we get, maybe all of our fans out there. We need your help. We need a few more cities. If you go look on Facebook, we've got them listed on cities we have covered already. But we need some help covering some others. So if you're just a fan and pay attention to them and, diehards, we want your input. So just go out there, comment all social media platforms. Just look into that, and we're going to have a great time. It's going to be a little short, maybe hour at the longest kind of segment, but we're going to try to cover and hit all 32 NFL teams.
We do have the Atlanta Falcons, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We have the New Orleans Saints, Carolina Panthers, the Houston Texans, Tennessee Titans, Jacksonville Jaguars, the Indianapolis Colts. We have the Cincinnati Bengals, and we have the Cleveland Browns. So we are missing 22 other franchises. If you are a fan, if like a diehard fan, or if you're a fan that goes to every training camp, even if you're a credentialed media-wise for that organization, hit us up. We want to talk to you. The interview will be 5 to 15 minutes long. We will ask you what you saw in training camp that could lead you to optimism, what could lead you to pessimism, and all those in between, and your expectations. So, like Shane said, go on Facebook, go on my Facebook page, go on Matt's, the Sportz Nutz, Shane's, wherever. Let me know, and we will be happy to talk with you, and we will pencil you in. Now, we won't know exact dates. As you know, OTAs officially started today, but we will it's not for every team, but for a lot of teams. It starts by the end of this week. This is when they start going, but we will know the schedule soon for training camp. So yes, and let us know if you're interested. Don't be nervous. Yes, we don't bite. Matt may bite, but we'll tell him to be good for that kind of thing. But
Matt's bit me before, and I kind of liked it.
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh man,
look at shit.
Oh man. Well, anyway, let's get back into it. We're talking about the college softball and baseball World Series going on here, and so I want to touch in on the softball just because it's coming to more of an end and a climax sooner than what the baseball tournament is. Clemson and South Carolina both had a great run. Clemson, they lost both their game. They won the first game, lost the last 2 against Texas by one or two
run
runs
each.
apiece.
One run each.
One
Actually,
run
no.
each.
The one game where they went to extras.
I think it was 7-5.
They lost by 2. Yeah, they lost by 2, but in the last one they lost by 1.
Yeah, it was 6-5. Yeah. And congratulations to Clemson. Like we've covered in the past, they are one of the newer teams in Division I NCAA, tournaments and stuff like that. So, congratulations to them. South Carolina, they were basically 1 out away in the second game. All they needed was that last out. And UCLA put it together and got in the extras there and got it done, and then came out and won the next day. So congratulations to UCLA, but congratulations to USC. They were kind of one of those teams that was kind of on the verge. Like as we see transitioning into what we're going to see at OKC with say Ole Miss. Ole Miss is that team that's kind of one of those Cinderella stories that you look forward to and can pull for in the series. So I say, in saying that, let's go ahead and dig into their matchup with Texas Tech right now.
Wow, that is going to be one of those matchups for the ages. Absolutely. Tell them why, Shane.
It's going to be the greatness that we see in this pitcher and hitter at that. And Najee, and we're seeing a generational talent in the softball world. Like I can compare it to more so. You can't compare it, but Shohei Ohtani type player in the college softball world. You also got to remember she just transferred in from Stanford to Texas Tech. She led Stanford to the semifinals twice already. So that's can Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a team. I know we're going to cover it a little bit later, but they remind me of the Carolina Hurricanes. They're just that scrappy team that kind of hangs around. Once they get that momentum, it just kind of builds and builds and builds and builds and builds for them. So if they can get that going, they're a dangerous team no matter who they're playing. So and let's go ahead and get into some of the other ones. We see, the top part of this bracket is loaded, and the bottom part has.
Let me say that.
But I mean, you have Texas and Florida coming out. It's going to be, what pitchers are going to show up, and that's going to be really the big difference in that matchup. And then the next matchup, you've got University of Tennessee against Oklahoma. Oklahoma's going on their 5th straight run for a national title. They've won 7 out of the last 10 years. Their coach is the 2028 Olympic softball head coach in the coming Olympics here in LA. So everything just kind of their offense now, though, with all that, they have struggled throughout the year, and Tennessee beat them twice at home.
Yep.
And basically obliterated them at home. But, Pickens has to be on in these matchups against them in this first game. But, I say Oklahoma's offense is just up there right now. They're coming off one of their key hitters that's kind of been quiet throughout the years because she's been injured is coming on now. I forget her name. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I mean, she still hit a lot of dingers, but then we get to the bottom half and, we see the Ole Miss Texas Tech, game that could be a blowout. It could be a great game. We could see one of those games that we see in Omaha, 12, 13 innings, maybe. Of course, it'd probably be about 9 or 10. And then we have the Ducks and UCLA. That's going to be the same thing as the first matchup between Texas and Florida. And the pitching is going to decide who wins this game.
And I don't want to also neglect to remind everybody, Tennessee's pitcher just clocked the fastest softball pitch ever thrown, by the way, at 79.4 miles an hour, which according to Cassie is almost equivalent to 113 mile per hour fastball. So that's incredible for a woman, or literally anybody, but let alone a woman's sport. So you're right. It's going to be a lot of fun to see what transpires on that front. I'm eager to see what happens, and I can't wait.
What was the pitch? A strike or a ball?
It was a strike. It was a rise ball, and the girl swung, completely missed. It was absolutely an incredible pitch. And both Cassie and I saw it, and we're like, "Holy cow, that was super fast!" Like
she has some of the most extreme movement on some of the pitches that I've ever seen.
And what I want you to do, Hank, look her up. She's number 23 on Tennessee.
What's
on YouTube?
What's this broad's name?
God, I can't remember her name. It's number 23 for Tennessee. You have to Google her name. Yeah, Google up on there.
Number 23 for
number 23
Tennessee.
Tennessee women's softball.
I didn't believe Pickens, right?
I think so. And if you look, when she throws, her like, you know, obviously you can tell when it's a rise ball. And for those who know rise balls, the ball actually does rise.
Carlin Pickens.
Yes.
Yeah, Pickens. Yeah.
So
like the county.
Yeah, like Pickens County. Look her up. I promise you will be amazed.
I'm looking. She can get it
at her pitch selection and her location for the ball. It's something I've never seen. Cassie told me it was impressive too. So yeah, I'm
looking at this info. What is she? What am I looking for?
Watch. I want you to, if you can, YouTube her pitches. Okay. YouTube her 79 mile per hour pitch.
Well, no wonder she's got that kind of power. She's like 6'1" for
yeah. She's very tall. She's one of. I said that to Cassie the other day. I was like, gosh, she is really tall. And then, boom, throws that rise ball, and that ball went. I'm like, whoa, that was fast. And yeah, she's amazing. She's going to do great things. So, all right. So Matt, obviously, you know, I'm still kind of starstruck with what happened, but let's talk a little bit about Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins did not show up today to OTAs. However, that's not the only reason why Kirk Cousins is mentioned in the news. Kirk Cousins actually could be traded, and it is a very high probability. And this team he has actually said he wants to go to. What team is that I'm talking about? I'm talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need a fallback option. They don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers made a comment today that he would like to sign a one-day contract with the Green Bay Packers to retire if the point came down to it. So that kind of tells me Aaron is not really into it anymore. So with that being said, Matt, I'm going to start with you. Could the Steelers, yes, those same Steelers, could they actually help the Atlanta Falcons out by taking on Kirk Cousins and his obnoxiously large contract?
They probably won't have no choice, man. They probably have to. They can't go into the season with who? Mason Rudolph and the rookie quarterback they just drafted. They with the level of talent they have on their team, they're in win now mode. They have to make the playoffs. They have DK Metcalf there. They have Freiermuth, who's a really good tight end, decent offensive line. I know they just drafted another running back to take over Najee Harris's spot.
Caleb Johnson.
Yeah, to go along with who they had already. So they're kind of just a quarterback away, man. And Kirk Cousins seems to be their best bet. I mean, obviously, with the news coming out that Kirk Cousins was injured, that changes a lot of things and a lot of people's perception of him. The dude was injured. It is what it was. He should have said something, or they should have said something, but nobody knows who's at fault here. All we know is, Steelers probably need to grab Kirk Cousins. That may be their best bet. And if they do that, they'll be a very dangerous team if they have a healthy Kirk Cousins, because they pretty much, the offense they play is kind of similar to what they played in Minnesota. So, that seems like it'll be the best bet.
And it is a good opportunity to, and the biggest argument that comes about with this is, will Pittsburgh or whomever take on Kirk Cousins' $20 million cap hit that takes this year? Atlanta has already said they will take the remainder of his contract. Look, because it's only a 4-year deal. The first year was the heavy hit. The second year is the moderate hit. The third year, almost non-existent. And there is no real hit in the fourth year. They can let him go with $1 million hit. That's all they really have to do. And I could definitely see what Kirk Cousins. He won't. We're not saying he's going to go to Green Bay. It's more likely he's going to go to Pittsburgh. That's the best option. Is Pittsburgh. I'm all look. I've asked this many people. I asked this to our good friend Abe Gordon, Matt, and I said, what can we expect with Michael Penix? Is this it? Is he? Could we go 11-6, 12-5? He said we absolutely could, but we could also go 5-12 or 6-11. You really don't know yet. This is the most questionably talented teams. They could have all the pieces, but they could have poor coaching, injury bug, whatever could come about on this one. And it's a toss up. It really is. Shane, you have you want to tag on this? Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, what I want to say on this is, we're really talking about two teams that are on the verge of that, playoff berth cuff. Be it wild card or, I doubt mainly the Steelers as a division winner, maybe Atlanta. But, we're talking about two teams that have a couple similar, needs and a lot of talent at those places that the opposing teams is needing. So I could see a deal being done there, and we see some parties getting involved. We really hadn't heard from the Steelers camp on this yet, but I think the Steelers, they're a game manager, which Kirk Cousins is, away from being that true second and third team behind, possibly the Bengals if they shore up their defense and the Ravens. In that conversation for that playoffs every year, like we've seen, kind of the NFC's done in certain situations where one conference and one division is necessarily horrible. And so one team or one division does great, like say the East, and they sneak two wild card teams in and the division winner. With that being said, it's all up to the Steelers front office and Aaron Rodgers to decide before they are actually going to make this move. And, I want to hear your guys' opinion on this, but, would it be worth taking on, having the trade and give those pieces away for that, potential, like, hey, we've got to get something done here soon.
And I'm glad you asked that question.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll show you a question in a minute, John. Just give me a second to answer this too. Aaron, here's what I would do if I were the Steelers. Aaron, are you doing it or not? Just answer. Are you doing it or not? Because if you're not, go. We don't want to continue having this land of what if. And here's the big question. What if man grows wings out of their back and they can fly tomorrow? What if? You can't live on that one. I mean, stop with this lollygagging around.
It is a business, so
yes.
It all comes down to the almighty dollar. So
that's right.
Two sides aren't going to see equal on what's the second greatest thing in the world other than love is money.
Right. I mean, this is not basketball. They're not gonna keep somebody based upon loyalty all the time. I mean, no. I mean, like, you think about it, Kobe Bryant's his best years were behind him probably a few years before he'd retired, but they gave him, the max contract again out of loyalty. That's just kind of how it is in certain sports and stuff like that. But in football, trades happen. I mean, how many players do you know that have stuck with the same team for their entire career? Not very many.
Not very many.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't
Matt
exist.
knows. We just got hit with it ourselves. 2017, Matt Ryan was the product of the business, and he was, unfortunately taken from the fan base who absolutely embraced a quarterback. They're still not there yet, and this is the year. Which we're saying is Michael Penix. If he does it, then everybody will say all is forgiven. All is all is forgiven, and the franchise is riding the ship. Absolutely. But you're right though, Hank. Not many teams that word loyalty, I don't think it really exists on any level of any sport. Now, I mean, there are those few. Obviously, Alex Ovechkin, we had Dave Preston on the last couple episodes ago. And Alex Ovechkin, 21 years with the same franchise. How many other leagues besides LeBron, how many other league teams can you sit there and say you have a player who's been on the same organization for over 20 years? I can't think of very many.
We just talked about it, Mr. Charlie Hustle, Cincinnati Reds, Pete Rose.
Yeah,
you really have to be like above box office to get that sort of notoriety.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at Stephen. I mean, I know we're getting a little off course here, but like Stephen Curry changed the game. Kobe Bryant picked up where Jordan left off in many aspects. Tim Duncan. Probably the exception, there are exceptions to the rules, but you have to really. It's like Dan Marino, for instance. He played in the league 16 years.
Yeah,
he played 16 years with the Miami Dolphins. But the problem was that Dan was so good that you couldn't let him go because there was just that big hope that he's gonna be something, even in his later years of his career. And
And
Just called a diamond in the rough.
I'm glad you brought up Steph Curry because I believe that might be the last true lifer that we see with an organization from draft to end.
That's a very real possibility. Absolutely. And Matt,
be a
you
long
know
time.
this. Bob just alluded to it. Trey's still in his prime. But you have said this for, gosh, I don't know how long and how many episodes we've had you say this. Get Trey an all-star or he's walking. He even made a post that he's not going to continue doing this, leaving early. He wants it now. Could this be it for him though? I mean, like I said though, Hank, you just alluded to it. Loyalty is not something you see a lot of in any sport anymore. Heck, college athletics is a prime example. It's how much can Joe A and Joe B pay me for Joe C not to grab me? It's literally how that is.
Right. And not to mention that self-entitlement is kind of thrown out the window now. LA, Boston, and I'm not trying to tick Atlanta off, but all these big market teams, they always had this self-entitlement of we're going to get this guy because they're in a popular market and stuff like that. Meanwhile, over the last 7-8 years, you've seen these players that sign with teams that make no sense for them to sign with. And so that self-entitlement thing is over with now. So Kobe might have been the last, but Kobe was LA. Kobe was LA, even though he lived 130 miles away and flew by helicopter every morning and see where that got him. But
Matt, go ahead.
But it's just insane that.
Hold on. Hank.
I knew Matt was going to do this.
No.
look at Shay's face.
No. One thing we're not going to do here is we're not going to talk about the late great Kobe Bryant in that jest.
What? Him getting killed in a helicopter?
Absolutely. That's a freak accident. It was cloudy outside. Even though they told him not to fly, still.
Let's see.
Still.
How do I say this nicely? Karma's a B. Okay.
Oh,
why would you feel that he deserved to pass away that day?
Well, let's see. There was this forcible entry thing in the mid 2000s.
That was actually deemed as not true. And the woman came out and said she had said that because she was angry with him because he didn't leave his wife for her. That is a verified fact. She said that. It was not a forced upon. It was a consensual relationship.
Which is why he got off.
She was just mad because she didn't get that ring.
That's right.
Hey, you see what I'm doing? That's all I got to do. That's all I got to do. I'm telling you. I'm not saying I can't prove it. I can't prove it, but I got
men lie, women lie, numbers do not.
All right, so let's go back to what we're talking about here, okay? All right, so I want to answer this question by Trey.
Don't disrespect Kobe Bryant.
How much popularity has softball gained over the last 20 years? Is it the top pool? Yes. So actually, I'm glad you asked that question, Trey. Women's sports in general, as you know, it has really grown. I think the number from what ESPN said, it was like 146% over the last 5 years. That's a significant improvement in growth. Softball has taken another step in the right direction. I think it's like in the last 3 years, it's jumped. I think it's 89.4%. I have to look that number verified. It's on ESPN. That has really grown. Softball talent is very deep. There is a lot of great players. Jocelyn Allo, she played. She lived in Hawaii, played for Oklahoma. She plays for the OK Spark, which, as you know, is a professional softball franchise. And by the way, we also mentioned this before. There will be, starting in the year 2026, a professional softball league is coming back. It will have 8 teams to start, and then it will grow by 2 every year as long as they prove popularity is continuing to grow. One of the cities that will be getting one is Atlanta. Another one is Charlotte. Also, in the year 2026, a professional women's baseball league is coming back. Yes, the Rockford Peaches, they are mentioned on there that they are absolutely coming back. So women's professional baseball and softball, it is actually becoming a real thing again. And for the softball, for right now, the current salary for the softball is $60,000 each year for each player. That's pretty good. But when the professional league comes back, they've already said it's $120,000 a year per player plus incentives. So there is a possibility of up to $250,000 a year, depending on your sponsors. If you have like whatever is attached to it. So there's an opportunity when you have that. Absolutely, there is a real possibility. Of course, in the baseball, it's $60,000 minimum year as well to start. That's really good. So yes, it is there. I'm glad you asked that question on that one. Now, with regards to what John said, why would you not go with the future and Will Howard? Will Howard, and Matt, you know this. Shane, you know this. Hank, you should know this too. Will Howard is formerly at Ohio State. He is a good quarterback. Absolutely.
Mhm.
He reminds me a lot of. I'm kind of gonna mix. I think he has a little bit of Brett Favre mixed with Patrick Mahomes. And I can even see a little bit of Russell Westbrook because of his ability to read. He can make great reads. He's a great.
Russell Wilson, you mean?
Yeah, Russell Wilson. He's a very good. Shut up. I'm watching us on here and I'm trying to catch myself, but it's going to be a really good hush. It's going to be a really good comparison. Yes, but the question obviously is the Rooneys, are they willing to stick with a rookie? And look, guys, we know this, and it's some like freak anomaly for it. But Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season his entire coaching career with the Pittsburgh. That is a number that you don't hear really.
Broadcasters jinx. There you go.
That's okay. Let it happen because there are a lot of people that are tired of what's gone on. They want the Steelers to finally come back to that level before they were winning all the time.
Listen. The last rookie they had was Mr. Tiny Hands. So,
which, by the way, if you look at that, have y'all seen the picture with his hands? Looks like he has a skeleton hand on.
Who's got tiny hands?
Kenny Pickett. He got drafted purely on the fake slide in the ACC championship game, in my opinion. but he's a good one. To look at, but Will Howard is a talent. So
Matt's got a question. Matt's got a remark on. You can see he just scooted up like I'm ready to say something.
No, man. I mean, you know what I'm about to say here, man. You know what I'm about to say, Brandon. I mean, don't you? You know what?
Don't you ever?
I'm not gonna say don't you ever because you can do whatever you want. But I will say that for anybody has potential if they put the work in. Anybody has potential, but we're going to hold off on comparing on an Ohio State a pedestrian Ohio State quarterback to Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson.
No, I said he has the mixtures of it. He has similarities between them. He really does because he is mobile. He can make unbelievable plays at the drop of a dime. Will Howard, I'm not saying he is
good
Big
quarterback.
And
good quarterback.
I'm not saying he's elite. I'm saying he's a good quarterback.
Good quarterback. Run instincts like Kellen Klein from Kansas State. Like it's more of a downhill between the tackles, kind of, get you 2-3 yards if needed. Kind of, that's what I see him in the NFL.
But he has that gunslinger arm that Brett Favre had.
Yeah, well, he's got a better arm and accuracy than that. But I'm saying his running style is comparable to that, not necessarily the scramble, run around.
No, he has great reads.
Kind of
he
deal.
Absolutely can read. He can assess. Absolutely, and Shane, this is coming from my man Shane with the Colin Klein respect. I love it. So, look, he has that ability. He absolutely has the ability. He could be a game changer. I mean, did I think he got a fair opportunity at Ohio State? No. I think he'd have, if he had gone to another school, I think he could have absolutely propelled himself to elite status if he had the opportunities. We know the kind of
he was slaying.
No, hold on. We know Ohio State, though. Yes, but Ohio State is traditionally a run first program.
Not with that rookie. What was the rookie's name? That receiver. He's going to be the first pick in the draft.
Smith.
Yeah. Oh, he was slaying.
Last name or first name?
Last name. Got the cover of NCAA 26. Him and Ryan Williams from Alabama.
Yeah.
They got the cover. Yeah. With Jalen Smith, maybe.
It's something Smith.
I know.
Uh,
I'm having a
yeah,
tremendous
yeah,
brain
yeah,
fart
yeah.
about this.
He was,
I think, but he's good. But
Mm.
oh yeah,
both.
Will Harrell had a good time just sitting back and just slinging.
Oh yeah,
He had a great time.
Which one is it? So remind me which one, please.
Well, I'm
That's the
looking.
26
I'm looking
cover.
on Bleacher Report. I'm
it's
trying to
Jeremy
find him on.
Smith.
I'm on right now trying to find it, and I think he was mentioned on Bleacher Report the other day. So I'm trying to think.
Yeah, there's this one too.
Jeremiah Smith, I think is it.
Jeremiah Smith. There we go.
There you go.
Jeremiah Smith. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
see it, but
Oh,
that sounds right.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Jeremiah
Oh, yeah.
Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Number 4 last year, I believe it was.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
my
he's
point
gonna
is
be-
on this though is if he had maybe gone to had he gone to Oregon, he may have had a better opportunity to pad his stats more, which could have showed he could have been elite.
Hold that thought. Joe Burrow went to Ohio State and then went to LSU.
He was elite at Ohio. He was elite at LSU.
He was elite at LSU, who is more predominantly run based than Ohio State.
But it also is Ohio State, and we know that they are traditionally run, and then pass.
But that's Big Ten mentality. That's
that
not
is.
Ohio State mentality.
That is right. That is Big Ten.
That's how Ohio State has gained advantage over the years. Of course, in the Big Ten, when you've got great players that run this one type of offense and this one type of defense that stifles you, then you still have that same result like Ohio State's had against Michigan in the past couple of years. But in that same sense, Ohio State's offense is not the same offense as, say, a SEC offense, who is a true pro-style run-heavy offense first.
Here's a question for you, Shane. Could Kenny Pickett maybe be QB1 in Cleveland? What'd you say, Matt?
My fault. No, that's Flacco's. Flacco's going to start the season off as the starter.
Yes.
We know how this is going to go now. Flacco's going to start the season off at the starter. They're going to give Dylan Gabriel a shot. He's not going to do too well. Shador will be a starter by the end of the season.
This is for you, Hank.
Okay.
This is regards to Kobe Bryant. Look, Kobe Bryant, Matt, you know this. Everybody should know
I'm still mad that it's trade. Yeah, no, I'm
Kobe Bryant.
I'm with you. Believe me, I'm not taking away his flowers for what he did for the game. I'm just a little bit irritated by what happened in the mid 2000s. You know, I'm not fully convinced of that he didn't, commit these acts or whatever. But that's a whole different topic.
Hey, my cousin got a full ride to North Greenville College because of softball. She became a teacher. See, softball is really good, and I promise you, now that they are finally recognized. Look, there was a professional softball league, Trey, and unfortunately, COVID did them in, and they did fail. But now they're coming back, and it's going to be very good to see what transpires from. But go ahead, Matt.
Oh no, just to piggyback off on what Hank was saying, man. A lot of things happen, man, that these athletes do and that people do. That one just happened to be in the limelight. And hey, man, he got off for it, man. I don't want to bring this up, but I guess it's kind of like the OJ thing.
Oh boy, here we go. If the glove does not fit, then you must acquit. We're not even doing that. Okay, next conversation.
Right. Oh no. That's the one. That's the beauty part about this country. You have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he did it, and they didn't. But that doesn't stop my instincts from kicking in.
That sounds like though that he's guilty, and he is guilty and proven until proven innocent. That you've already assumed he's guilty. That's what it sounds like. All right, so I don't want to continue talking this. I want to continue going elsewhere because we could talk for hours upon hours. We're running on time, so I want to make sure on this.
What were we talking about?
Now look, the new update. This is the double. This is gonna be a double-edged sword for Shane to start, and then I'll ask Matt and then Hank on this one. The new updated win-loss totals have come out for the hapless Colorado Rockies. Man, we could actually physically see this happen. Remember, y'all, there's 162 games in an MLB season.
Mm-hmm.
It could be the first 140 game loss team ever for any sport, let alone baseball. Shane, I mean, you saw Orlando Arcia just signed. He got DFA'd and released by the Atlanta Braves. He just signed a deal with the Colorado Rockies. Could we see a 140 loss team in baseball, or let alone any sport?
Well, Let me tell you this: the Rockies in this prediction. This is just based off pure metrics, which is what the game's going to. Is pure metrics. Everybody's watched the movie Moneyball by this point, hopefully.
Hopefully, otherwise you'll be wrong.
So we saw how that transitioned into the game, and now I mean I was watching pregame here with the Braves and Phillies matchup tonight, and Spencer Strider's talking about it. He's like, man, my fastball just isn't there. I just don't, and he's coming back from an injury that he was truly affected by with his velocity and all. And so he's not truly 100% back to the pitcher that he was. And he was talking about how the video and the movement and the arm angles and I mean, blah, 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 blah. You talk about physics. I mean, Bryson DeChambeau, 3D prints his own clubs and all because of physics. And we're talking about professional sports. That's what kind of an edge these players are getting and looking for nowadays. So, in seeing that, the Rockies still have an easier schedule through the next 3 months than what the Chicago White Sox had, and they won 4 games. So
it's true.
So I believe that the Rockies, they're a good enough team. They have a good enough ballpark that is hitter friendly, so they could squeak out a couple games here or there on some, summer months. The ball carries a whole lot further than in the spring, and it's still it's cool down here. Imagine what it is up there sometimes still.
Yeah, that's right.
So
there's still a lot of opportunity left for. I mean, there's still a lot of baseball.
There's still a lot of opportunity left, but I think that we're not going to see. I think they're going to eclipse the White Sox margin even this year.
Okay, so you think White Sox will still be the worst team, though?
Yes, yes. The White Sox will still be the worst team, I do believe. But just based on, I've seen it at the beginning of seasons, like we did with the Braves, 0-7, which is unheard of for our fan base. And the A's, we've seen what 26 straight losses.
Yeah, they were bad,
or something like that. So, but I see, this team with the Rockies, they still have some pieces and enough athleticism and small ball mentality, and we're still talking about a professional sport that you're getting paid to go out there and perform at. So there's still a little bit of pride and dedication out there, especially if you're talking about 162 games in the season. There's still some pride in what you're getting paid for. In doing
John
that.
just said here the Royals just 2 years ago had 119 losses. Look, and last year we saw an abysmal loss total for the Chicago White Sox. But the fact that it's even being mentioned means there's got to be there is an algorithm for everything. I understand there is a math problem for everything that can give you numbers. Numbers look pretty on paper, but reality is where it's different. But, just the idea of the fact that this could realistically happen is it's a staggering number. All right. So like I said, this is a double-edged sword question for you, Shane. Are the Carolina Hurricanes, are they done? I mean, yes, we just saw them end their 14-game Eastern Conference final losing streak. That is a losing streak that you don't want to be a part of, really. But I think, honestly, I feel they're done. I really do. I think, and as much as it painstaking me to say this, I think Florida goes back to the Stanley Cup Finals. They take it in 5. I really feel. What do you think, Hank? Because I'll go to Shane. Shane, you're the last one on that question, but I'll go to Hank. What do you think? Hank, do you think Florida just obliterates Carolina? Or could they make it even more interesting and make it 7?
I have no idea who you are talking about.
The Carolina Hurricane, they're a NHL franchise?
Hold on.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah. Because believe me, I stopped watching the NHL playoffs about a week ago because I've been so busy with the NBA playoffs that
What do you think, Matt? Do you think Carolina? I mean, do you think Florida Panthers just absolutely obliterate the Hurricane and they win it in 5, or could Carolina make it interesting and take it even to 7?
I think Carolina's going to make it. I say Florida's going to win it in 6. I give it to them in 6. I think Florida's going to win a series, of course. They're too talented, but I have them winning it. But yeah, I'll go with Florida. I think the Panthers are going to win.
Is this the Stanley Cup?
Yes, Eastern Conference Finals.
Florida okay. So it's not the Cup. So it's not the Cup.
Okay. Shane, what do you think? Is Carolina done at 5, or could it go all the way to 7?
Man, well,
after what we've seen,
we're down 3-1. You look at it, you're going home for game 5. So that's a plus. And, like I alluded to it earlier with the Ole Miss, once you get momentum on the side of this team, they start playing, and make a run like we saw earlier in the playoffs against New Jersey, and all. They came out swinging and they kept it going.
This is for you.
Their defense, if they play like they did in game 4, then their defense can hold up and they can get these scoring opportunities. I'm kind of in agreement with everybody. I think Florida's talent on the offensive side of the glass makes a big difference, especially being up 3-1. They can take those chances. And to be honest with you, as we praised Carolina's goalie in the first couple series, he's not done too hot in this series. So if Carolina can keep it under 3 goals and is in an opportunity where they're not injured and not getting a lot of penalties, because they do play that way. If they do get a lot of penalties and power play, defense opportunities, kill opportunities, as they say in hockey, then they don't have time to be on the offensive, side of the boards. And we've seen that in the first 2 series where they led in shots taken and shots on target. So it's kind of completely flipped this series. Like I said, if they get game 6, they come back home for game 7, I wouldn't put it past them to win it. I'm pulling for them either way.
It's going to be an interesting finale to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I know. I need to get my NHL game back on track. I didn't even know.
And look, our good friend John of the Pitch Grid podcast did say it's going to be 4-2, so it's going to be a 6-game series. I hope you guys are right. I just don't know. And look, it painstaches me to say this about the Florida Panthers, but like we alluded to with Dave Preston when he was on with us from WTOP, the state of Florida has ruled the Stanley Cup playoffs. Basically, this will be the 6th year in a row that the state of Florida has been a part of the Stanley Cup Finals. If Florida is to close it out in Game 5, I mean, it's a real possibility. Who knows, guys? We have had an absolute fantastic show, fantastic season. Season 3 finale is this Friday, May the 30th. We will do obviously we'll do a recap of the season that was. We'll still talk sports, obviously, because this is what we are. We're the Sportz Nutz. There's the sports is not going to sleep just because we're going to sleep for a week. No, it's not that. Matt is working on a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you haven't seen yet. It's a new intros coming out. As Shane alluded to, and we'll be happy to show again, training days with the Sportz Nutz. Yes, it is only going to air during the summer. It is between 45 minutes and an hour long. It will cover all 32 teams in the NFL, what they've seen in the training camp, what their optimism or pessimism is for the upcoming season for that particular team. We currently have 10 franchises on board. We still need 22. Shane, tell them again, if you are a fan, tell them what the requirements are to help be a part of that segment.
Oh yeah, all you have to do is be a fan and follow the team. We are we're looking for your help at this point, just because hey, it's just four of us. We know that there's plenty of our Sportz Nutz fans out there that pull for other teams other than what we pull for. So please, we want to get your insight. Don't be shy. Hey, if you don't want to be on camera, hey, just hey, we can do a little call in, something like that, if you want to do that. But we want to try to get everybody's perspective on what they see within this next season, especially going through OTAs and training camps like we are currently.
Absolutely. And we don't bite. I mean, look, this guy right here might, but we're not going to point fingers, Mr. Matthew Thomas. But guys, obviously it's going to be a fun experience. What we have: Atlanta Falcons, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, New Orleans Saints, Carolina Panthers, the Indianapolis Colts, Tennessee Titans, Jacksonville Jaguars, Tennessee. I think it's we have the entire NFC South and AFC South. Cleveland and Cincinnati have also joined in on that one. We're still 22 teams away. Help us get to those other 22 franchises. All you got to do, be a fan or even be credentialed. If you are credentialed, that's even better, but meaning you cover that particular franchise. But either way, we want to hear. You'll come on for 5 to 15 minutes, and we will happily go over like questions with you. And like I said, it's a quick interview, but it gives you a chance to be a part of something great that we're building here. Hey, do not forget, guys, we are on Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Central Standard Time on TigerNation.live. Yes, we will actually from the 28th to the 3rd, they will not put any new episodes of us on there because the program director's out of town, is what he's told me, but he will come right back, which is during the time that we are on our week off before season 4. So we will absolutely have more episodes on there. Guys, it's been fun. Thank you to Bob Rathbun for coming on. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in. Real quick, help us reach a couple of year-end goals, if you do not mind. What they are, we have a year-end goal of 1,200 subscribers on YouTube. Help us try and get to that point, please. We want to get 1,000 followers on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. 1,000 followers, if possible, on our Instagram page, which is Nutty Sports Talk. And we're currently at 1,500 followers on Facebook. Can you try and help us get to 1,800 followers on Facebook? And of course, Matt, he's working diligently for the TikTok page. Let's try and get us to 1,000 followers on TikTok. We'd really appreciate it. And also remember, we are on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate that one. So, guys, real quick, also wanted to give a shout out to Matt. You know this name very well. Demaryius Thomas is being inducted to the Ring of Honor, Ring Hall of Fame for the Denver Broncos. Shout out to Demaryius Bebe Thomas. We know that he was a legend at Georgia Tech, legend in the game. Unfortunately, his life ended too soon. Such a great athlete, but we are happy to hear that he is being honored. So, guys, for all of us here at the Sports, and for our good friend Bob Rathbun, Hank, what do you tell these lovely people, sir?
Shoot, hey, you could have been anywhere else tonight, but y'all came to see us, man. So thank you for being a part of our lives tonight, and we love you.
Absolutely. Shane, what do you tell these lovely people, sir?
Hey, man, as always, it's been a pleasure to be on there. And, hey, may the good Lord bless. Peace, love, and bacon grease.
Yes, peace, love, and bacon grease indeed. Matt, what do you tell these lovely people, sir?
Oh man, yeah, guys. We got Friday. What is it? Tuesday?
Yes.
Enjoy the rest of your week, man. Don't get flagged in the game of life. Don't go out there doing crazy things. If you're gonna do something crazy, do it at home. Don't drink and drive. Drink and survive. That means do it at your house. And other than that, just be smart, guys. Just be smart.
Absolutely. Keep your nose clean.
And don't get flagged.
And don't get flagged. That's right. Don't get flagged. Look, guys, we had a lot of fun with you. We will be back for season 3 finale this Friday, the 30th. Don't forget, though, season 4 starts the following Friday, June the 6th. Can't wait for that one. Till then, you guys have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the outro and good night.